mean, if there's nothing we can credit to him, at least we can credit that we know what the problem is, not just the terrain, but also a budget, which they say cannot adequately cater for the construction of that road. Because of the terrain, it needs more money than most roads that, are normally constructed in Nigeria. And the budget allocated to the Niger Delta Ministry on a yearly basis cannot adequately cater for that road. And that's why you've also had the shopping intervention funds also going to that area as well. So would you say that at least if when we realize the problems, can we say that he's truly solved half the problem in Niger Delta?
No, you see, because one, the cost of, you should understand also that the cost of constructing a kilometer of road in Nigeria is about the highest in the world. So why don't you shop around?
So you're not convinced that it's
no.
terrain?
They should think outside the box on how to generate the money to be able to do that job. Now, let's take Singapore, for instance. In the early 90s, they had an issue about telecoms. They wanted to change their telecoms to be more effective and all that. And they invited bidders. The British Telecom applied and told them, look, you just have to change this wire, retain the main system, it's expensive and all that. But a small company in the US who bid for that job and made their presentation. And they won the bid. Why? Is this, even though the British Telecom told them that it was going to be trying to save money, but it ended up that it would have cost them more. What they did was to collapse the whole telecom and began forgot all the old the cables laid in and relayed new cables. And in the long run, it was cheaper for them, and telecom improved. Sometimes even the Niger Delta, get people, it's not only one construction company that we should be using in this country. When we talk of construction, Jules Berger and all that, it's as if we don't have other construction. There are other construction companies that can do that job at a cheaper rate, higher quality.
Let me also bring in this point, because some of those who have been relieved of their duties as ministers now, there are speculations about corruption cases against some of them. But now that we're saying that they're out of that position of theirs as ministers, do we expect to see the anti-corruption agencies or the police just invite them over and ask them some questions? Because sometimes most times, when these allegations make the rounds, they're dropped. In this case, are we going to hear any something like, this is it, go home and sin no more?
Well, it depends on what they do after now.
Well, who does? The ministers.
We determine what, the normal way here in Nigeria is when a minister leaves office and has allegedly committed some criminal or corruption acts, you'll find that if the minister goes home and keeps quiet and no bother or rock the system, you find that yes, he can go, or he or she can go, But if other interest is in, it's a variance.
Maybe like if it defects?
If it defects, yes. Or for instance, now you see the agency, of EFCC or ICPC and all these people coming after that person.
Wow, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So if it comes across that way.
Yeah. Because one is that if a minister is accused and found guilty, one is, first of all, you get rid of that person. And then the court of law will be able to determine whether that case. But again, you have to step aside and face that, not just setting up panels and all that. If it's something that needs to be taken to court, or the agencies that, let them take them to court.
Another case in point is not even the ministers alone, the president's chief of staff, the former chief of staff in this case, or who is out. There was also that speculation about what he is alleged to have done. Is it that the security agencies don't know what is being speculated out there and just ask questions saying, well, let's actually find out if what is being alleged is true? Because the reason that they gave was some of them have political ambition, but in the meantime, some of them, their states are not even having any elections this year or next year.
Yes, and in the case of the former chief of staff, I heard in the paper, I read in the papers, I heard over the news that even the village people, market women were dancing in the markets. Jubilating for his sack that he never brought anything. Instead, he used his position to oppress the masses in the village. Can you imagine that? Using his position, rather than uplifting the lives of the people, he used his position to oppress them. And that's why the whole village of Fuga,
The whole village?
yes, went agog. There were 3 parties, market women dancing, and all kinds of things happening in that place.
What comes to mind is that why can't sometimes this kind of protest also come up while this individual or individuals while they are still in office? Why can't the people protest?
Because one, you have the instruments of power, and you can, once
They
you...
can't just be crushed, can they?
No, you see, because one is that you can use the agents, maybe the police. I mean, somebody with a gun, the late MK Abiola said that it would be stupid of any man to fight with another man who has a gun. So you'll be fighting with a police. What for? And again, they could be, the people have been so impoverished that they might not even afford to get to fight, because to fight such a person, you have to have money, maybe take the person to court and all that. So the people are powerless, and that's the whole essence of some of these leaders want to achieve. Popularize the people so that they don't even have to rise up, to fight for their rights, because they don't have the means.
Can we also tie this to corruption? Because I'm trying to see if I can whip up any kind of reason as to what a chief of staff can do in terms of development. He's not the council chairman, he's not the governor, he's not even maybe the minister of works. So what...
Influence.
Influence.
Yes. They said that influence is greater than power. And that's why women have influence, so they take advantage of their influence. Even men have power, but women have influence. So your position could be that of a woman who has influence. You can influence some projects, come into your area. You can call the governor and say, look, this and this and this is not going right. If he doesn't listen to you, call the president so that the president can also call him. You're the president's second wife, more or less. Chief of staff.
Because if that protest is anything to go by, it means that we're getting an enlightened people, an enlightened electorate.
That's right. Because now is that for him to contest any election, maybe in 2020 or 2017 or whenever the election comes, the people will remember. And it will be difficult. It will be suicidal for him to go into an elective position. He should just lay low, enjoy the salaries he made or the savings that he has made, and then find something else to do rather than going to confront. Because in the village, I'm not sure, there was a former governor, that after his tenure, before he could go home, he wouldn't fly straight to, there's an airport in his own place, but he would rather fly to Port Harcourt. And in the night, they would drive him to his village. They wouldn't even go to the city center. That's how bad some of these people are. And things are. Because the people, don't forget, there's an article I'm doing on the nature or the changing nature of power in the knowledge economy. How power is shifting. The political power in even in organization, in the public sector, and the public space, and in the corporate space. Power is shifting. Power is shifting to those in the streets. That's where power is. And we see it all over the world. So people can no longer do the things that they ordinarily would have done in the past.
You try to tie this to election year or politics, and can we also, say this is also politically induced kind of process? Because from what we gathered from Dr. Abati, he says, he's going into politics, seek other aspiration, because there's the same we have also seen from Mr. Maku concerning this particular cabinet shake-up. And if you say, there's news making the rounds of wide jubilation of his resignation, sack. Sometimes we get, you're a communication expert, sometimes we get a little bit confused whether these are resignation or sack. For the Ogadume case, people still a little bit unsure as to what happened.
In communication, there are things that you have to consider the message you pass around, and the delivering bad news is not really the best that anybody can, and how you deliver it will determine the implication, how how it affects the individual involved and the administration itself. If you sack someone for something that you are being accused of, you have to find a soft landing for that person, and that's what they have done. Whether politics or not, it's just a soft landing to say, okay, look, you have tried, but why don't you? But the government can now say behind and say, okay, let's check if you have committed any of this, and they can send some agency of the government to begin to investigate you, and without you saying anything as a president. So this thing is that, yes, the official communication sent out was that he was allowed to go to do some other things, and that is not even. Don't forget that this was not the first time that there was an attempt to drop him. In fact, some people said, I think in the social media or something, they were saying that, oh look, that the man said, okay, come and tell the president to come and say, it became so powerful and all that, and they said, but who are you? So they can dispense of you at any time. It may be some kind of a blackmail, but I think that this time around that there's courage to do the right thing. If the person is not listening, as a leader, you need that courage, and that is what is necessary. What the president has exhibited right now to, let some people go and be decisive. Because some people are saying, look, he doesn't have a mind of his own, and he's being caged, he's being told what to do and all that. Even if in this day and time, I was at a committee set up. I'm a member of a committee set up for this national conference. And part of the things that we want to say to the people in national conference is that there should be some kind of a collegiate leadership, presidency, not just
collegiate.
Collegiate,
How would it play out?
How would it play out that we select some people that would be able to say, look, because in this knowledge economy, decision making should not be allowed, even corporations are doing it. In Switzerland, it's happening. Okay, collegiate kind of person, people that we agree to take decisions that affect the lives of these people, rather than having one man. So that's the kind of thing that we are proposing that we should begin to think about and tinker, so that we can deliver quality of governance to the people.
We'll have to explore that at a later date. Sounds interesting, but that's the time we have for today. Thank you for coming on this morning, Dr. Austin Nweze, of the Pan Atlantic University.